Hey guys, what's up? It's Fee here and welcome back to another Mindful Fee rant. I am here to rant today about toxic people and kind of breaking it down, what that means and how to remove yourself from toxic people and how to also not be the toxic person, because I think easily we can blame things on other people and not take accountability for ourselves. So that's what we're going to go into. Also, I want to thank everybody for supporting me on the Mindful Fee rants that I've been doing and encouraging me to start a podcast. Maybe I will do a podcast one day. But in the meantime, you're going to get these Instagram videos, okay? So the way that I look at it is, I feel like not all toxic people are bad people. Not all toxic people are not caring people. A lot of them really have our best interests at heart, but the way that I look at it is that enough? You know, oh, because you have good intentions, that doesn't mean that you're not good for my life. My question would be, for you guys, do you feel like you keep on loving toxic people because you care and you have a good heart and you want to help change them, you want to show them a better way of living or being, or just have more peace of mind? Or do you love at a distance and you allow them to kind of come to their own realization of you're fucking toxic and you're slowing down your own evolution as a human, but also you're getting in my way of growth as well? You know, I never really understood, because I've done this too, I've never understood why is it that when it comes to people that make us feel bad or make us feel uncomfortable or make us feel in pain or make us just feel any type of like negative way, why do we feel the need to compromise ourselves and compromise our comfort to make them feel better? That's a self-love thing of creating a boundary and creating space and holding space for yourself. Like, this makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't really want to be around this person, or I don't really want to engage with this person in general because it doesn't make me feel good. At what point do you practice enough self-love or feel like you are deserving enough to be able to cut the cord? Big picture, I believe that ultimately when you're not checking your friends or checking your family members or checking whoever and being honest with them, not only are you holding them back from their growth, but you're also holding yourself back from your own growth, because you guys are both existing in the same energy, existing in the same space where you're not being held accountable. You're not being held accountable because you're not creating the boundary, so you're allowing their energy to spill onto you. But then also when you're not checking the other person, it allows them to keep on feeding out all this negative energy. And I feel like when you really love and you care about someone, you tell them in a gentle way, hey, like, your energy or whatever it is off. Like, it's not cool, it's toxic, it's uncomfortable. I know for myself, I've been in spaces where I have been super negative, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, Felicia, you're so positive. Like, no, I'm a human being and I be having moments, like several moments. And thank God I have a partner that is very progressive when it comes to evolution, just as a human, and we're not afraid to hold one another accountable. And I think accountability partner is extremely important. But there has been so many times that he's like, yo, your energy is bad, like, you're negative and I feel like you have a black cloud over your head and you need to get that shit over, like, get away from me with it, you know? And not in a negative way, but just in a way of checking me and just being honest and upfront. And there's times where it hurts to hear somebody say that, especially somebody that you love. But imagine if he would have never told me that, and I'm coming with a dark cloud every single day, not dealing with whatever turmoil is going on inside of myself. A lot of times I realized, yes, it was me that was being toxic in these moments when he is saying, and don't get me wrong, he be having toxic moments too. I'm not taking the blame for everything. I'm just not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. It's so important to have somebody to tell you, like, yo, chill, like, you gotta chill. I feel like that's love, you know? Love is when somebody is not afraid to tell you when you slipping. You know, our well-being has to be a priority or we will never evolve. And to me, that's a super scary thought. So you telling me that I can get older in age physically and I can stay stagnant in the same frame of mind that I'm at right now at 28 years old? I'm cool. I'm trying to like go to so many different levels. I'm very much in a space where I want to continue to evolve even when it hurts, because the more and more that I evolve and the more and more that I work on myself, I realize that I enjoy my life a lot better and I have a lot more peace of mind. But it takes work. It's an everyday process to be able to operate at my highest level of being until it comes naturally, because we go through society, we go through life undoing a bunch of shit that was piled on us, like childhood, from friends, family, peers, like just anything, you know. And so we have to undo a lot of stuff, and a lot of habits that I personally have, I'm 28, I've had for 28 years. So, you know, there's some things that I struggle with personally that takes a little bit more work, and it takes a lot more breathing and just telling myself it's okay and everything is fine. But that's evolution, and that's me working towards evolution because I don't want to stay stuck. A lot of times people face things when it comes to family. Family, we love, we get, we know. A lot of strongholds I feel like are family because we feel like we owe our family members something. My personal walk with my family, it's been a very trying one, you know. I've been through a lot with my family, and I had to learn, and I've learned this from my mother, to love at a distance, because I'm the type of person that tries to help everybody, and I take on a very maternal role, and I feel like they know that. It was drowning me down when I had to eventually tell myself, or come to the understanding actually, that their walk is not my walk. I can still love you, and I can still care about you, and I can still support you, but at a distance. Because with me, when I'm in, I'm all in, and sometimes you have to be careful with stuff like that, you know, because then you end up drowning with them and y'all both in the water. But it's like, but no, somebody got to be out of the water and somebody got to be in the water, and we got to help one another, pull one another out. But I can't help you if you're not trying to help yourself. And that is my biggest issue, is when it comes to toxic people, if those people do not want to change, you have to love them at a distance. You don't have to dislike anybody. You don't have to be mean to nobody. You don't have to hate anybody. You don't have to do any of those things. Don't be upset that they don't want to change. Obviously, it's hurtful, but at the same time, you have to worry about your well-being, because you don't want to stop your boat and where in your motion and where you're going, because your walk is different from the next person. As much as we love them, we want to take everybody with us, we can't all the time. And as much as we're talking about other people being toxic, I think it's important that we always check ourselves and make sure that we are not being the toxic person. First and foremost, before we point the finger at other people, look, I'll tell you, because there's been times in my past that I'll be like, oh, this person's being like this, this person's being like that. When really, when I evolve and I look back at certain situations, it was like, nah, Fee, you were the one that was tripping. You are your number one accountability partner. No matter what anybody says, you are number one. And you got to hold yourself accountable of like, damn, I'm being kind of negative, or damn, I'm kind of like gossiping a lot. Check yourself, like get in check with yourself. You know how you feel. The self-evaluation thing is one of the top things I always do. Whenever I'm hanging out with somebody and I walk away from the interaction, I always ask myself, how do you feel? Do you feel empty or do you feel full? Whenever you're coming into contact with anybody, I feel like it should be an exchange. I don't feel like it should be a take, or a give. It has to be both coming together. So if I leave a conversation or I leave a situation and I feel empty, I'll probably never meet with that person again. You have to fill me up in a way. And I'm not saying it has to be monetary. It doesn't have to be, you know, money. It doesn't have to be what can you do for me. But it's like, nah, but you got to meet me halfway, because as humans, I feel like we're here to use one another. And if you're just taking, that's toxic to me. And I have to protect myself. I love myself enough to say, no, that doesn't feel good, or that made me feel uncomfortable, or that makes me feel like I'm being used. It has to be a line. And I draw my line real thick with the black Sharpie marker, because I don't like people to be in my space, you know. And if you are going to be in my space, I'm gonna let you have free will and free range, because I know that the people that are that I do allow past that boundary are people that give me the same exact energy back. Alright, so that wraps up my rant. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and let me know like other things that you guys would like me to talk about. A lot of people request different things. It's so many of y'all, but yeah, Don't forget to evaluate yourself after a conversation with somebody or an interaction with somebody. Do I feel full? Do I feel empty? And that usually will help you identify who's toxic and who's not toxic. You might have to do it a couple of times, but self-evaluation and self-check is very important. And also make sure you're not being the toxic person. It's a give and a take. You're either the toxic person or you're not the toxic person. So if you have to check yourself sometimes, be gentle with yourself and just, you know, kind of nudge yourself like, hey, homegirl, get it together, fee. And that's just what it is. Forgive yourself. Be gentle with yourself. I hope you guys are having a good new year. Deuces!